Would you believe me if I told you that every single thing you have been trying to manifest already exists? Greetings, beautiful beings. Welcome back to my channel, Rising with Rachel. I am Rachel, and together we rise and talking about all things cosmic and consciousness. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. If you want to share some extra love, maybe leave a comment down below. It does help our silly little human earth algorithm. As much as I don't want to be a part of that, I do want to be a part of spreading the messages that help awaken the collective human consciousness at this crucial time in human history. We are on the forefront of a spiritual revolution where we are anchoring in light codes so that Earth can fully embody the new Earth, the 5-dimensional, free, loving Earth that it has always planned to be right here, right now. And it all starts with you and me. So let's get into it. Today, we're going to tap into our multidimensionality, the truth of the essence of the core of who we are, which is an energetic being just inhabiting this physical human body, right? Our souls at their core are just energy. We are just source cosmic stuff. And that stuff, that energy source that we are, is multidimensional by nature. So today we're going to talk about parallel realities. You're sat here like, Rachel, what the are you talking about? I totally get it. But this is actually something that is talked about in quantum physics, because science and spirituality are actually kind of the same thing if you haven't already figured that out. Seems like almost every day now that there is more information revealed about how science is just catching up to things that people who are spiritually in tune already know, and how these two realms really do overlap. They are one in the same. So on the topic of parallel realities, the thing to understand about the universe is that infinite realities are in existence at the same time. You can think about it like a radio. We know that there are a handful of different radio stations that we can tune into, right? So you might feel like you want to listen to a certain genre of music, so you tune into 92.3 FM. Even though you are tuned into 92.3 FM, there is 92.4 FM, 92.5 FM, 100.3 FM. There are multiple other radio stations that are available for you to tap into. However, you are just tuned into the frequency of 92.3 because that's what it is you're yearning to hear. However, that does not mean that those other radio stations stop playing music, right? Those frequencies still exist whether or not you are tuned in. But when you turn the dial of the radio and you change the frequency, you are able to tap into that new frequency and hear a new genre of music. This is the exact same way that reality works. It is all energetics. It's all frequency. There is a reality in which you are in a healthy, loving relationship. There's a reality in which you are an abundant millionaire. There is a reality in which you are a self-employed conscious content creator. At the same time, because duality exists and also infinite realities exist, there are lower vibrational realities that are true. And the thing to remember here is that you are the conscious being that has control of the dial and what frequency you want to tune into. And you do this through your vibration. You do this through every thought you think, every feeling that you feel, every decision that you make is your way of turning the dial and tuning into a specific radio station. So if you are stuck in cycles of shame, if you're feeling bad for yourself, if you are experiencing lack of money, bad relationships, having no friends, I challenge you to reflect on what ways you are keeping yourself stuck on that radio station through the thoughts that you think around those things. Are you feeling bad for yourself? Are you saying, oh, of course this person hurt my feelings. Oh, of course my paycheck was lower than I thought it was going to be. Of course I hit every red light that's making me late to work. Because what you're doing with those thoughts you think, feelings you feel, decisions you make is you are reaffirming the radio station that you are on, because all of those things contribute to your overall vibration, your overall frequency, right? So if you are participating in those lower vibrational experiences, you are turning the radio dial down to the lower vibrational stations. So the music you're going to hear is that of a lower vibrational song. If the universe has its own rhythm, you are going to hear Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, dun, 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 when you are tapped into those lower vibrational thoughts, feelings, belief, decisions, and such. Or you can be tapping into a higher vibrational existence by consciously curating your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions. Every time a lower vibrational feeling comes up, you have the chance to rewrite the script, to turn that radio dial and say, you know what? Fear, lack, insecurity, whatever comes up for me, I see you. I understand that you're just trying to protect me. What can I do to help you, to nourish you so that we can alchemize you and turn this radio station up? I want to get to the higher vibrational channel. So how is it that I do that? In the same way you want to change the radio station to a new channel, you have to do the same thing with your own energy. So you have to be the one to consciously decide, the same way you say, I don't really like this music. I'm going to turn the dial. You have to say, you know what? I don't really like this reality. I'm going to turn the dial. And when you do this work, when you consciously curate your vibration through being selective with the thoughts that you allow to simmer, with the feelings that you allow to linger, through the decisions that you make, you are choosing a different reality. It's not necessarily that you're creating a new reality, because again, all of the radio stations that we know of, they already exist, right? But you shift into a new reality. And this is something that has helped me so immensely with thinking about manifestation, because what I've realized about understanding that there are parallel realities and infinite realities at that is that I have the ability to shift at every given moment. Every new thought, every new feeling, every new moment, every new now moment is an opportunity to change that radio station and to shift further into the reality that I desire to live in, that I know is out there for me. If I know there is a reality in which I am an abundant millionaire conscious content creator that doesn't have to do the traditional work and sells courses online and does one-on-one coaching calls, I know that that reality already exists because of what quantum physics tells us about how everything is right here, right now. All of these infinite realities are already in existence. It's just a matter of me shifting into that reality. It's a matter of me making sure that I am an energetic match to that reality so that that's what is my then physical experience. You see, the thing that keeps people stuck in terms of manifestation is that they believe the things that they want are outside of them, that they are not already here right now. Instead of thinking that, oh, this is something that I simply shift sideways into, we tend to put these things that we desire on a pedestal, acting like they are above us, that they are outside of us. Every time that we tell the universe we yearn for something, we want something, we desire something, we are saying this thing is outside of me, instead of saying, oh, I know that this is already a frequency that is available within me, that all I have to do is shift to that frequency and again, move sideways into. And that simple perspective shift has really changed my life. Like, you have to really believe that the desires that you want, the manifestations you're trying to bring into your reality, they are only going to be a byproduct of your natural state of being. Like, you need to straight up assume that the things that you want have no choice but to already be in your reality, because that's the character of who you are. That's just the way reality works for you. For example, yesterday I got a bill from the DMV that was definitely less than desirable, and this bill had attached to it a late fee that wasn't really adding up. So I decided to go to the DMV today and say, you know what, let me just see if there's a possibility that I can get this late fee removed, because why not? Now, I could have gone into that DMV saying, okay, I really hope I get a nice person, and I really hope that they'll let me waive this fee, and I really hope that even if they don't let me waive this fee, that I can fight the fee, that there's some way around this. But I didn't do any of that. I walked in, and instead of saying, I hope, I said, I'm here to waive my fee. I know I'm going to get a nice person. I just assumed that that was going to happen because that's the way reality works for me, right? I know that reality works in my favor. So why wouldn't I get a nice, understanding person who's going to waive my fee? It would be weird if things didn't go in my favor. I just assumed that it would be a good result. And that's exactly what it was. When I tell you I could not have gotten a nicer person at the DMV of all places, somehow I found the coolest person in there with metallic silver nail polish, the dopest rings, and they understood me in 2 seconds. I didn't even have to do the whole song and dance and explain and come up with excuses. They just helped me waive the fee. And it was because I went in there with that mindset of the reality that I live in is the abundant one. And after I had that fee waived, it really just confirmed for me that I really shifted into a new reality where things on the smallest of levels just absolutely work out for me. In order to shift into a parallel reality, the higher vibrational realities where you are more abundant, where you are thriving, where things move more effortlessly for you, where you are in love, where you have the job of your dreams, you have to focus on your frequency and attuning to those things so that you are an energetic match to them, and that those things are literally just a result of the way of your being and not things that you are telling the universe you desire that are outside of you. You can almost think about realities like splitting hairs. If you have one string of hair and you got a split end, right? It splits into two at the bottom. That is essentially how reality works every time you make a decision, every time you have a thought, every time you have a feeling. It's like a new splitting hair that leads you into a different reality. Like if you woke up and were torn between waffles and eggs this morning for breakfast and you chose eggs, there is a reality in which you chose waffles, and because of that are having a completely different day. But it happens through every single second of every single decision. When you make that decision, whatever decision you don't make is also a parallel reality that is being played out. Like it is literally an infinite collection of moments. If you've seen the movie Interstellar, it's almost like when the main character is going down the different dimensions and he can see his daughter in all of these realities. That's exactly how it works.
All of this is one little girl's bedroom, every moment. It's infinitely complex. They have access to infinite time and space, but they're not bound by anything. They can't find a specific place in time. They can't communicate. That's why I'm here.
One of my friends described this in a really cool way, where if you think about an onion, right? The onion, no matter what you can see on the inside, is still a circular full onion. Even though it is filled with different layers on the inside that you can't see that are still existing, that's exactly how reality works. Like, those realities are still in existence, even though you are just in this reality. Even though you are just the onion, those things, those layers are still happening. In the same way, back to the radio analogy, those different radio stations are still playing music. It's just a matter of which station are you tuned into. Our multidimensional nature is honestly so fascinating and mind-blowing to think about. Like, our ego brain that we coexist with is not supposed to be able to comprehend this stuff. I actually heard from my Saiyan friend with the onion analogy say that it is none of the universe's business to make sense to you, and I think that that is hilarious and also so true, and I support you, Queen. Thank you, universe. I don't make sense to a lot of people either. And what's crazy to conceptualize in the logical thinking brain also is that we are doing this parallel timeline shifting without even knowing 99% of the time, until it is you start knowing and start consciously choosing, of course. Let me give you an example of a time that I experienced entering a parallel reality beyond my logical thinking brain's control. It was something that my consciousness did. It split off and chose a reality in which was beneficial for me. And it's crazy to think about, and something that my logical brain only actually just put the pieces together of within the last week and connected a lot of dots for me. Might help put some pieces together for you. So back in 2016, I got in a really bad car accident my senior year of high school. And essentially I was going down a road and it was only 2 lanes, this way and this way. And I had seen a car that was going the opposite direction of me swerve over the yellow line. Within 2 seconds of me saying, what the f*** is this guy? I didn't even have time to finish the sentence. The car's headlights were coming at me. And in that moment, it was like somebody just stretched out the fabric of time so that it slowed down, and it felt like this slow, goopy experience where it was not happening as fast as it should have. And in those slow, drawn out moments, I had so much information come to me. Like, I instantly was able to process, I can't go right because there's a rock wall next to me, and if I go that way, I'm definitely gonna die. But if I don't go into that rock wall, then I'm going to go head on into the car and also probably die because I'm gonna fly through the windshield. Like, this is going to be a head-on collision. I have no way out. But right after that, I had this flashback to my driver's ed class where they were teaching us how if you were to hydroplane on ice, normally your reaction is to go against the way the car is turning, but to not do that because that's actually how you spin out worse. In that moment, I felt time slow down. I was able to process where to turn around, what to go, what to do, what the best case scenario would be. And at that same time, had that flashback where I thought, don't go against it. Stay as steady as you can. And so when I got hit and my car spun, I just remember hanging on for dear life with my hands like this on the steering wheel. And I just hung on as tight as I could. I just said, I can't move. I can't move. My car got hit maybe about an inch from being head on, and the person kept going. So my car spun out, and my passenger even broke the passenger window with his head. Like, when we spun, he went like this, broke the window with his head, and I ended up 2 feet away from a pole. I honestly couldn't tell you what I saw during that time. I feel like I blacked out because I really was just in that moment experiencing that slowness of time, and it was something unlike anything I've ever experienced before. I just remember sitting there praying, like, please don't let my friend be dead. And it was the scariest feeling ever to sit there frozen, waiting to turn my head to the right to see if my passenger was still alive, because I couldn't believe that I was still alive. And here are some pictures to show you just how bad the accident was, because this is not something that I should have come unscathed from. I literally walked out with a minor concussion and my Kylie Cosmetics lipstick print on the airbag and just a few shards of glass in my blazer pocket that I was wearing. And my friend obviously had a larger concussion than me, but the fact that we were even still alive is beyond me. And I will never forget, somebody told me right after the accident that there was an angel in my back seat. And I always resonated with that heavily. But I realized recently that that angel was a future version of me, right? Because what I had experienced in that period, that time was slowing down, was a timeline shift. It was not my time to go yet, because I had so much to accomplish that it was not over for me yet at 18. So my consciousness experienced a timeline split. I could have shifted into the reality where it was over for me, or my consciousness could have shifted into the reality where somehow I survived. And that's exactly what happened. It was only recently I heard another creator, 𝗪𝗪𝗡𝗪𝗪𝗡, I'm sorry if I butcher this, talk about his experience where he should have been in a car accident. It never actually happened, but he was essentially about to get cooked in the middle of the highway, and he experienced this slowing down of time in which all of a sudden he felt like a jolt, and he was behind the car that was about to smash him, and he had no explanation for it until he got a reading from a being named Bashar that is channeled by 𝘪𝗪𝗡𝗪𝗡, again, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the name, where Bashar had told him, yeah, you experienced that timeline shift. There was a reality in which you died, but your consciousness knew that it wasn't time for you yet. So it shifted into the reality of which you survived. And the second that I heard him say that, it was so transformational for me, because it confirmed what I already knew to be true, which was that that angel that was in my back seat was a different aspect of myself that knew it wasn't time for me to go yet. And a little bit off the topic of parallel realities, but it also affirmed for me as well that when you have a purpose that is bigger than you, the universe is going to literally shift timelines. You support this purpose so that you can fulfill it. And it just brought so much peace to me to hear this creator talk about that experience, because I was reaffirmed with, yeah, you experienced a timeline shift. Congratulations. In real time, in slowed down time, you experienced what it's like to shift a timeline, but also that you are meant to be here and that your purpose is meant to be fulfilled. And something that's crazy about that experience as well is that it connected a lot of fear of death for me, because I am very afraid of dying, even though I know what is on the other side of it, which is that I am still in existence, because everything we know about quantum physics, right, tells us that everything is already happening all the time, everywhere, infinitely. So thinking about life through a quantum lens only means that you believe that you are immortal, right? Because you don't die. Your first person point of view, yes, leaves this physical vessel, but then your first person point of view just switches to another point of view. If anything, a higher point of view where you can see all the other points of view. Again, I understand how confusing this is. None of this is supposed to make sense. Back to that quote saying it's not the universe's obligation to make sense to us. We are multidimensional beings by nature. It's a hard thing to grasp, but that we are really these quantumly immortal beings that are always living. Like, we will always live, because energy always is. It isn't born and it doesn't die. It always just is. Processing again that car accident, that timeline shift with all of these awarenesses and understandings now, it also really shifted my fear of death, because I realized that my fear comes from the timeline in which I did pass away. My fear of death comes from the aspect of myself that is floating in the ether somewhere that did pass away at an early age, who wasn't ready yet. Can you imagine being 18 and all of a sudden your first person point of view switches and you're in God knows where in the ethers, and you're like, what the hell happened to me? I wasn't ready yet. What about my family? What about all the plans that I had? it makes me so emotional to think about, because that aspect of me still exists. And that's why these feelings come up, is because these feelings are the information from that version of me that did pass away, that is sad, that is wondering why she had to go, that is feeling bad for her family that's dealing with her passing. Those timelines, those realities are all very real, and they are all happening right now. But how fortunate am I to be in the first person point of view here right now, with that magical experience just under my belt and something else that I survived. So yeah, parallel realities are something that I have personally experienced on a macro level as well as a micro level, which is definitely also why I had to go through them, right? To be able to sit here and talk to you about this stuff. Like, what good would it be if I was trying to teach you about quantum physics and timeline hopping if I didn't have an experience, a real first person point of view where it actually happened for me? It just is not the same when someone is trying to teach you from a book instead of their own wisdom. It all happened for a reason, because I'm supposed to put all the pieces together in order to help you guys make sense of your own experiences and to open you to the truth of realities and what is. So whether it's in a really massive life-saving way where you are able to shift into a parallel reality consciously or not, like my consciousness did for me in that car accident, my ego didn't know, but my consciousness did that, my oversoul, my higher self. Or you do it consciously on a micro level where you are focusing on being your best self and following the path of least resistance and curating good feelings and good thoughts and making good decisions that lead to your vibration being higher, which is you tuning that radio station to a higher vibrational station so that the music you hear is that of the things you want, is that abundant music playing, and with it the universe brings all of the magic that you've been waiting for. You can shift into a parallel reality at every given moment, because the second that you realize nothing you desire is outside of you is the second that you understand that it's so easy to create the life of your dreams, because you don't really have to create it. It's already existing. It's just something that you tune into the frequency of. And when you start really doing that inner work to tune into that frequency, the universe is going to start showing you physical evidence that you have made that switch, that you have turned that dial, that you have amped up your frequency. It literally has no choice but to, because your external reality is just a reflection of your internal world. So if your internal world is vibrating at a higher frequency, then the reality that you experience is going to be that of a higher vibrational one. So don't think about your manifestations as something outside of yourself. Don't think of your desires as something that you have to yearn for or want. Get them off that pedestal, because as long as they're on the pedestal, you're telling the universe that they're outside of you. And understand, or understand as I like to say, that everything you desire is already within you. It's just a matter of you becoming an energetic match to it. So yeah, this might have been a little bit of a confusing one, so my apologies if there are any holes. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask down below. I love to talk about multidimensionality and the true essence of our nature as energetic beings. So if you'd like to know more, feel free to comment down below. If you have your own stories of shifting into a parallel reality or experiencing a crazy time hop, I would definitely love to hear about it. We are never going through things by ourselves, and I think that talking about these things really helps us understand, again, as I like to say, that all of this stuff is true. Because when you keep it to yourself, it's kind of just something that you feel like you experience that might or might not be true, that you might be crazy for thinking or experiencing, but you're not. And there's other people that have experienced the same thing, if not even more so, that are desiring to talk about it, that want to feel seen, that want to feel heard, that want to feel related to. So please feel free to share down below. And I hope that any of this shed any light that it needed to, planted any little seeds of consciousness that bloom on the right time they're supposed to, in the divine time, as always. Thank you so much for doing the inner work that you are to raise your vibration and your frequency, because as you take care of you, you take care of the collective. I see you, I honor you, I love you so much, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys.